G'day. Here's a little video for those of you who still don't believe about Islam trying to take over their West and their true
in Philadelphia. A secret meeting is called to order in October. Attending are 24 American supporters of the Muslim Brotherhood and leader Ismail al-Barasi, the keeper of the
انه كانه احنا فعلا مريض كذلك انه امريكا اذا احنا فعلا عجزنا في هذه البلد معناته عجز
first reaction video that I'm doing. So,
during the meetings, the group used code in an effort to confuse anyone who might be listening. The code for Hamas was Sama, Hamas spelled backwards. Hamas, a Muslim Brotherhood organization, at this time was carrying out acts of violence in Israel, including kidnappings, drive-by shootings, and stabbing attacks.
What do you know? The Muslim Brotherhood behind it all, eh? They're always behind at the top of everything.
It became a U.S. designated terrorist group in 1995.
They even specifically discuss how do we keep ourselves from being defined as terrorists. They recognize when the doors are shut, they recognize that supporting Hamas is supporting terrorism. They know what the word means. And the concern was if it is revealed what we truly support, then we will no longer be able to operate in this country the way in which we have been able to operate today.
There were obstacles. First, how to market Hamas terrorism to Muslims.
لازم تشكل لي رئيس فلسطينيين والمسلمين في امريكا يهون المقاومه لازم يجلس مثلا المفروض نعمل زي هيك طيب هذه اشكال حسب.
And second, how to disguise Hamas's terrorist agenda for non-Muslims.
أو مثلا فعلا بنلتقي في الجاليه بالفعل نسال عن الطلبه او انتم في الجاليه تسالوا عن الطلبه وتلجموهم ولا مش رايحين يدرسوا لحالهم.
The men gathered here were responsible for Hamas fundraising, and the only way to open wallets was to win hearts and minds.
Here you have individuals, their true political goal, which is to represent Hamas's interest in America, and they find that their constituency is too small, so they broaden the constituency to the entire Muslim population, which is the classic Islamist ideological tool, which is to take a local political conflict and broaden it to the entire Muslim ummah, or community.
For these men gathered in Philadelphia, the mission was just one campaign in a war.
Deceive, camouflage, you see? That's where the saying taqiyya comes into it. Surely you've heard about that. Look it up, taqiyya. So they can lie to the infidel, the non-believers, to get their way and get what they want. It is true.
War is deception. You accept the fact that the system that you're living under at the present time is illegitimate, okay, then you're prepared to do anything illegal, underhanded, deceptive. The whole thing is illegitimate. You're in a war, so all bets are off.
Some of those attending this meeting would be generals in this stealth war. Palestine, a Hamas
What do you
front.
know? Hamas, a terrorist organ, all the way back to the 90s. What do you know, eh?
Or Ahmad was
the situation inside Palestine, Hamas movement more than the PLO, not because Hamas is the. I know that this movement, as an Islamic movement, has not been objectively reported in the United States.
Within weeks of this speech, Hamas began introducing suicide bombings as a strategy in Israel.
Violence straight away.
In Hamas advertising themselves as being peaceful organizations was nothing more than a pragmatic ruse to convince the world that they were mainstream and moderate. You need only scratch the surface to see that, in fact, they were not.
Within a year of the Philadelphia meeting, Omar Ahmad and Nihad Awad would help to rebrand the Hamas Front, IAP, as the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE. In July 2005, after deadly terror attacks in London, a coalition of aligned Muslim American groups saw an ideal opportunity to hone their positive public image. They would issue a carefully worded fatwa, a religious decree against terrorism.
Islam strictly condemns religious extremism and the use of violence against innocent lives. There is no justification in Islam for extremism or terrorism.
Having our religious scholars side by side with our community leaders leaves no room for anybody to suggest that Islam and Muslims condone nor support any forms or acts of terrorism.
Bullshit.
Yet elsewhere, these and other signers of the fatwa have called out acts of violence or terrorism, albeit sometimes in veiled language.
أنا لأمريكا أن ترد الدين إلى أرض الإسلام، إلى أرض الشرق، إلى القدس، إلى القدس بالبث بعهد مع الله على الجهاد، على الاستشهاد، أن نغير من أنماط حياتنا.
Because if you remain on the side of injustice, the wrath of God will come. Please, all Americans, did you remember that? That Allah is watching everyone. God is watching everyone. If you continue doing injustice and tolerate injustice, the wrath of God will come.
We are here today to tell our brothers and sisters in Palestine that you have learned the way, that you have known that the jihad.
Noticed how he says Philistine, because in Arabic they can't say P, Palestine. Philistine. When has it ever been called Philistine?
Way is the way to liberate your
jihad, like terrorism, and they redefine it for themselves to justify and rationalize that is their taking. So someone might say, do you use terrorism? And they say no, because they don't believe us against Israeli civilians is terrorism.
Ordained
A
from God.
tip is to avoid condemning officially designated behind the broad term terrorism. When pressed by the reporter to Hamas and Hezbollah, this
A very clear
Four in the modern with the most.
care at the
One of Homeland Security's Michael Chertoff set forth recommendations, like avoiding such words as jihadist. This same language is proudly embraced by some Islamists.
Allah promised you that you're not going to die in jihad. It is an honor to die in jihad. Yes. You don't like jihad?
This is in 1991. And do you think things have gotten better or worse?
Yes, jihad. Look, jihad is the tightest thing in Islam. Shoot, don't compromise on these little things. Be proud of it. Why? Because Islam is a perfect religion. If you sit here and you start, saying jihad is only in...
They claim it's a perfect religion. Do you see that? Perfect religion. And yet their prophet raped a 9-year-old girl. He was a warlord, he was a liar, and an anti-Semite of the highest order. Yet it's the perfect religion. Go figure that. That there's something wrong with these people. Something wrong with them.
Total this and that, you are compromising on your faith.
Jihad is very much like sexism and racism. You can smell it. No matter what the language, sly language being used, this is something that you know when you see it.
This is how the language is contorted. This is how the language is manipulated. This is how the agenda is hidden in the language.
The goal is peace, in one word, peace.
Islam is peace. Yeah, Islam is peace. But peace is not necessarily freedom.
No.
Peace.
That's right. Peace and freedom are two separate things. You can be in peace, but you can be subjugated. And who wants that? No one wants that.
It just means the absence of opposition.
To prevail everywhere and justice.
Who would ever have a problem with justice? Jihad is just to establish justice. So when you hear the word justice, you think fighting for someone's rights or trying to make sure that no one is mistreated or abused or whatever. That's not how Muslim fundamentalists define justice, okay? Justice can only come from Allah, from God. We will never have justice until we have an Islamic state, because whoever doesn't rule by what Allah has revealed is an oppressor.
The goal is equality. The goal is respect of human rights. The goal is to live Muslims and non-Muslims together in one society.
Exactly, till the whole world is fucking Muslim. That's what
صراع حضاري منهج شيطاني يتزعمه يهود ومن يوالونهم ومنهج رباني تحمله حماس والحركة الإسلامية جميعا والشعوب الإسلامية من ورائها.
These type of radical Muslims, they know their agenda is so is sensitive. I mean, if anyone ever caught wind of what we're doing, they'd be finished. So they have to hide it. They have to mask it. They hide it in plain sight. That's what they do. They hide it in plain sight.
I'm going to keep uploading. I've got a lot of content, on Islam exposing. I'm going to keep coming and coming.